guys, it's Sarah here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to another Sims 4 speed build. So today we are building a cafe and we're building it's a little bit of a cat themed cafe. I don't know if you guys have those where you live. I don't, but I have seen them before, like on the internet and stuff like that. Online, I've seen like different places that have them and I think they're really cool looking, but it's basically like you see every now and then these cafes that they have cats in them. And that I don't know if they live there. I guess they do. I've never really thought about it that hard or looked into it. But yeah, you can like go sit at these cafes, or I don't know, there may be like different kind of things like a restaurant or something. But you can go sit there and just hang out with these cats. And I think that's really cool. Or maybe it's that you can bring your own cat. I don't know for sure. If you guys have ever been to one, let me know because I would love to know about it. That's something that I would love to do, to be honest. I think that's such a cool thought to be able to go chill out at a cafe, especially if you like work remotely or you tend to go to places like that a lot, and then you can go sit with cats all day. I know some people don't like cats, so that probably would not appeal to you, but I think it would be pretty fun. And I added a bunch of like cat items, or I thought they were cat items. I think some of them ended up being like dog items, like the toy storage boxes. I think I ended up adding a dog toy storage box. I don't know if they're different. I don't know if they're like separate for dogs or cats or what. I couldn't figure that out. And anyway, when I opened it, when I was playtesting it, it looked like it was just for dogs. It had like a rubber ball that, I mean, I think cats could play with that, but I'm not sure that that was the intention. So I don't really know about that. But anyway, another thing about this is that it's a cat cafe, but then cats can't, you know, I guess you would have to bring your own cat in The Sims because like cats aren't actually actively there all the time, which is a little disappointing. But I did like adopt one of the cats that was in this area to kind of try it out, and it let me bring the cat inside, so I think that's fine. But then the cat that I adopted was one of the like skittish cats, so it wouldn't do anything. It kept getting scared and it went under the couch that I put in later, so that wasn't very helpful. And I still don't really know if most of the cat objects are functional because of that. And also because you can't actually click on the cat and like direct it to something. I couldn't figure out that for the most part, so I kind of just gave up on that completely. But then I don't think I've showed you guys the inspiration photo for this build, so I'm going to go on and put that up on the screen where you guys can see it. This inspiration photo, this build pretty much looked exactly like it. Maybe not exactly, but you can definitely tell that this was the inspiration for this build, so it's pretty similar. The last few builds I have done have not been like that, but this one I feel like it was pretty close to it. I was pretty happy with the way it turned out, and I just really liked this picture. I think it's a little bit of like a digital rendering for a bakery. It actually says bakery, but I decided, I don't know why in my brain bakery equaled cafe, so that's what I decided to build. And I don't know, I also think cafes kind of remind me of bakeries. I know they're not the same thing, but then a lot of cafes do have some baked goods. So I think that's where I was going with that. But in that picture, they have this really cool detail at the bottom of the build. And it's, you guys could see it in the picture. I won't even try to describe it because I have no idea what to call it. But it's basically like a little bit of white, you know, extra exterior decoration on the bottom. And so I was going to try to make that in this build. And I started off, I was using the Stony Goodness slab from a spa day, and I was going to use the tool mod to kind of rotate it and then add it to the wall. But because some of it kind of had to go into the wall, and I don't know, maybe that wasn't even it, but it was turning a different color of white in some places. And some items do that when they're pushed too far in the wall, and so it was just starting to take a really long time, and I wasn't totally liking the way it turned out. So I got rid of that, and then I was going to use the base game shelf called the Immaculate, which I say all the time. That's the one item I think that I can remember what it's called. But I used that next. I was going to use that with the tool mod to kind of flip it over the same basic thing and use that to make the thicker white decoration. That's what I'll call it. But it also was taking a really long time and it just didn't look totally right. So finally, thankfully, I remembered that we have these canvases in the base game debug section for the painting and stuff. And so I remembered that, and they actually snapped to the wall perfectly. And so it's totally so much better option than what I was doing. And I'm so glad that I remembered that because it was just going to take ages to add anything else that I was thinking of. So I ended up using the medium canvas, and I think it looks good. You guys can let me know what you think, but I think it looks pretty natural. You can't really tell that it's a canvas. And then I was low-key worried that it would be an object that the Sims could interact with because I don't use that a whole lot. I have used it before, but it's been a while. And so I thought, well, maybe the Sims will be able to pick it up. I don't really want them to be able to like pick it up and take it. So I wasn't sure if it was one of those kind of items, but thankfully it was not. You can't interact with it when you're playing on this lot, or at least I couldn't figure out how, so I think we're in the clear on that front. And then for the smaller detail up above that, I did use the base game shelf called the Immaculate. I just sized it down a little bit, and I did use some tool mod, trickery with that to make it a little bit easier. And I also used the tool mod to copy it and paste it so I didn't have to place it individually. And it's not perfect. In some areas you can kind of see that I didn't get it lined up perfectly if I had to add more shelves or something, and then so it's a little bit offset sometimes. But I was okay with it. I had spent a little bit too much time on that detail, so I decided to go with it. And then that's about when I found the wall decor item. I think that's what I'll call it, but it's from the Cats and Dogs pack, and it said felines only welcome, or something to do with like cats are the only animals, I guess, that can come in, or it's a way to tell on a business to say that cats are welcome. I don't really know about that, but that's what it looked like to me. So that's when I kind of started thinking, oh, well, I can make this a cat cafe, and that might be fun. So that's what I did, but also kind of in my mind, because I haven't played a lot with this pack, and it's going to sound really ridiculous, but I kind of was like, well, maybe that sign will let stray cats come into the building. That does not seem to be the case so far. When I play tested it, it did not seem to happen. It was just Sims that came in. So maybe that's just a sign that says you won't get kicked out if you bring your cat with you. I did adopt a cat as well that was in the area. I adopted the cat to kind of see if everything would work once I realized that stray cats weren't just going to come flooding into this cafe. And so I adopted a cat, but the cat that I adopted, or I didn't really adopt it, I just added it to the family, but it was a skittish cat, and so I couldn't even tell how much of this stuff worked because it just kept hiding under the couch, which is kind of funny. But on the inside, I added a bunch of items for cats. So I added some of the little cat towers, or I don't know what they're called, but that's what I'm going to call them. And so I added some of those. And how do you tell if they're functional? Because I couldn't figure out how to direct the cat to play with it, if that makes sense. Like with Sims, you can click on something, and make them interact with it. You guys know that. But with the cats or animals, I haven't figured that out because you can't actually click on them like you're playing with them, but they're in your family. And so, yeah, I was a little confused about that. If you guys know how to make your cats play with some of the cat objects, let me know. That sounds really bad, but it's just for the sake of playtesting it. Other than that, I don't care what they do. They can just chill, that's fine. But I couldn't playtest any of the cat objects, basically, is what I'm saying. And that's pretty much it for the exterior. So I did add a bunch of tables, of course, and chairs and stuff like that for this cafe. But when I was playtesting it, that's another thing, is no Sims went out there. So that's kind of funny to me. And I guess it's because most of the cafe items are on the inside, and there really just wasn't any necessity to go outside, but none of them ever did. And I kind of thought that was funny because I don't think the whole time I was playtesting it, any of the Sims walked outside. They all just kind of grouped right in front of the cafe bar and just kind of stayed there. So that was weird, but I do feel like it has a really nice outdoor area. If you are playing and you wanted your Sims to go outside, I think the outdoor area is really cute. And I added a bunch of lights, and I didn't really like the way the lights looked outside, but since it's a community venue, I felt like it needed a little bit of light because you could go during the nighttime or during the evening, and you still want to be able to see. And so then on the interior, there is a second floor, just basically for exterior decoration. And I thought about adding some stairs and making it kind of like an apartment, but I was looking into it, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong because I have no idea what I'm talking about, full disclosure, but I kind of looked into it, and it seems like with businesses, you can't live at your business. Is that right? Because it looked like there was a mod you could download that was like the live-in mod or something like that. And then there was I saw a bunch of tricks and tips on how to kind of get around that, how to live there without it actually being where your Sim lives, if that makes sense. So I was going to do a tiny little apartment up above the cafe, but then when I realized that it wasn't really simple to be able to live in your business or live in a business like this, then I decided just to not do that, because also, once again, the stairs situation was difficult and I didn't want to place the stairs, so I just left it alone, and it's completely closed off. But anyway, this is the cafe. It's kind of small, maybe for a cafe, but it has everything you need. It has all the necessities. And the bathrooms are really plain. I think I ended up putting 3 bathrooms. and they're just like walled in bathrooms because I don't have any of the packs that came with the stalls. Like that's next on my list because I think that's really cool, and that's what I would have put there. But this time I just kind of made like basic bathrooms, and all it is I put a toilet and a toilet paper roll in there, and that's it, because I didn't want to decorate it. It was just too small of a space. And so then of course I added the cafe area and stuff like that, and then I added a bunch of cat stuff. I think there's really only 1 or 2 tables in here. I think there's 2. And I added a laptop to one of them, and I don't think any of the Sims stole it so far. I don't know if they can. They probably can. But I did add the laptop just because I thought it looked cooler. It made more sense than having a desktop computer here. And then I added, plenty of cat stuff, and I added a couch just for a more cozy vibe as well. But that's pretty much it for this cafe. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you have ever been to a cat cafe, because I find that very interesting. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all are doing really, really well, and I will see you soon with another speed build.